Lay, 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 lay. Lay, 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 lay. Lay, 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 lay. Lay, 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 lay. Lay, 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 lay. Lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Ya lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, 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 lay.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Such a real pleasure to share this evening. It's wonderful to see so many beautiful faces in our congregation. All of my family that is here to celebrate Shabbat and this moment, and some dear friends as well. It's just a wonderful evening. We also are celebrating the bat mitzvah of Peyton Edberg, and just really beautiful. The Edberg family is just really beautiful family, and in a moment they're gonna help lead us in the welcoming of Shabbat through lighting candles. We have this week's Shabbat is special on so many reasons, but one of it is that the Torah portion is the story of Noah and the flood, Parshat Noach, which is why we got to bless our pets and bring some of our furry friends on a little bit earlier. But the story of Noah and the flood holds some really key and beautiful messages. The image of a flood is the kind of archetypal image that can be part of our dreams. It's that kind of chaotic, out of control, overwhelming kind of experience. And it's true that for a lot of us over the last year, for so many reasons, things have felt a little like a flood. And the beautiful piece about the story is that we see the main character, Noah, not just protecting his family, but really reaching out with care and love to take care of the entire non-human world in the flood through the animals. And this is a piece and a model for all of us, that what really matters is that we don't stay protected in our bubbles, but that we continue to reach out and care for and bring each other in close. The second part of the story that gets to frame and reflect on our Shabbat experience is what happens after the flood, which is, it's the first experience of covenant, of God making a promise and a commitment to all of humanity through the rainbow being this sign to say, I will never destroy all of life again. That even though you, humanity, may mess up, may screw up, may make me regret that I created you, I'm still going to stay in relationship. I'm still going to stay in commitment. And it wasn't until much later, through the experience at Mount Sinai, when the Jewish people gave that same kind of covenant and commitment back to God. But it's really this model that Shabbat invites us to reflect on our commitment to relationship. It's commitment to showing up, to being present, to caring for one another, even when things get hard and tough. And that it's really this reminder that it's love that is what gives our lives meaning and moves the world around. So at this point, it's my pleasure to invite up the Edberg family to spotlight them on our Zoom here as they lead us in the lighting of candles. If you have Shabbat candles and you want to go along with them as they say the blessing, that would be lovely. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. This time we will be sharing slides so that everyone can follow along with the service. We want to really encourage you and invite you to sing along and participate with us and add your voices and your spirits to the evening. Boikala, 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 boikala. Boikala, 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 boikala. Lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת תקבלה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת תקבלה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה. בואי כלה.
We come to Shabbat with hearts, a lot of us with hearts full of joy, but some of us are holding feelings of loss, of people that we care about and we love that are missing. And every time we come together for a sacred moment, we may be feeling that loss and that absence. And if you're here carrying that, we wish you Hamakom Yenachem Etchem, may the Holy One comfort you, that even as we celebrate in prayer and meditation and in song, that all of you is welcome, and we're here to hold you in community.
There will be times where we invite you to rise for Baruch Hu, and please just do what you are comfortable with. You can rise physically or in spirit. We continue together. Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam asher bidbaro mariv aravim b'chokhma potiach sharim. God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun. You unfold the heavens with brilliant moon and stars and wrap our souls with peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro mariv aravim b'chokhma potiach If we build this world from love, ya la la, ya la, ya la la, ya la, then God will build this world from love. Ya la la, la la, ya la la, ya la, then God will build this world from love. Ya la la, la la, ya la la, la. Olam chesed yibale, ya la la, la, ya la la, la. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. I want to invite everyone to join me in Shema. And just recently, I learned some beautiful sign language for Shema that I'd like to teach you tonight. So instead of listening with our ears, we pay attention. And when we talk about Israel, it's all of us gathered. And Adonai is our God, and Adonai Echad, all of us with all of our varied perspectives and voices. God is part of all of that, and together we are one. So we begin with Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Let's try this together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. We are frozen. Let's join together in the Ve'ahavta.
Hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha v'beitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'shofrecha u'kurecha Ushartam le'ost al yadecha v'chayu le'tzotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru ba'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'onehem. Ani Adonai
את אדוני גאה ישראל. It is a blessing to gather in community, to see each other, and be reminded of all of the different ways that we can bring peace and comfort to one another. So I want you to think for a moment about someone that brought you a sense of peace this week when you needed it most. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. We let that peace in together. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. 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 Baruch atah Adonai Haporei sukat shalom Aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברדעונם. וביום השביעי שבת ונפש, שבת ונפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברדעונם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברדעונם. As we prepare for our Amidah tonight, I invite us all to think about what are the hopes that you have for what you or what we will learn from this time that we are living in. You are invited to pray on that to yourself, or if you are so moved, to add that to the chat so that we can all be lifted up by our prayers together. I invite you at this time to rise. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tilatecha, ufi yagid tilatecha. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tilatecha. לפניך, אדוני, צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto you, O God. He who לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני, צורי
There we go. Shabbat Shalom. Tonight we gather to celebrate Shabbat as a community and also to recognize and celebrate Rabbi Kavod's recent acceptance to the CCAR, which is the leadership organization for Reform rabbis. His affiliation with the CCAR marks a huge milestone for Rabbi Kavod and for Temple Bethel of South Orange County. He now is one of very few duly affiliated rabbis in North America, leading a duly affiliated synagogue of Reform and Conservative Jews. We refer tonight as an installation because, to be honest, while we welcomed Rabbi Kavod to our community over 8 years ago, we never did an installation for him. Sorry about that. So tonight, we hope to make up for our omission. Rabbi Kavod, I hope you enjoy what we've put together for you. At this time, I would like to introduce Rabbi Stephen Einstein, founding Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation B'nai Tzedek in Fountain Valley, and a longtime friend of Rabbi Kavod and the Weider family.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say Mazel Tov to the Edberg family, for I had a hand in giving them their start. And so to be able to share this Shabbat that is so special in their life and the life of their extended family gives me special joy. And of course, it is always a joy for me to share the bima with one of my absolute favorite cantors in the world, Natalie Miriam Young. Well, as many of you know, Rabbi Kavod grew up in Orange County. I have known him since his childhood. In fact, his father and I were Hebrew Union College classmates early on, before his dad decided to serve the Jewish community in ways other than the rabbinate. I knew his grandmother as well, as she was the first woman and first Jew to serve as mayor of Huntington Beach and later on the Orange County Board of Supervisors. However, my enthusiasm tonight is not due to my longtime family connection, but rather to the great spiritual leader. And I use that term with precision. The great spiritual leader that Rabbi Kavod Weider is today. To be in Kavod's presence is to sense the nearness of the Shekhinah. He is deeply learned, having immersed himself in Jewish studies throughout his years at the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies. But more than having knowledge, he is able to convey the soul-moving teachings of our sages in a manner that creates wonderment within the hearts of his listeners. You are all familiar with the history. Kavod serves Temple Beth El of South Orange County, a congregation dually affiliated with the Union for Reform Judaism and the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism. At the time that Congregation Eilat merged with Temple Beth El, Kavod, then a Ziegler student, was brought in as a rabbinic intern to serve the needs of the conservative members. Upon ordination, he was called as one of the rabbis of Temple Beth El, primarily with the same portfolio and more. Over the years, all the members of the shul, whether self-identifying as conservative or reform, have come to greatly appreciate Kavod's humanity and true caring. With the passage of time, staffing at the temple has undergone several changes. Kavod is now the solo rabbi of the congregation, comfortably leading and teaching the many individuals who seek his guidance. I love having Kavod as a colleague in our Orange County Jewish community. I now count it an honor to be able to call him a fellow member of the Central Conference of American Rabbis. Mazel tov, my dear friend, in your formal installation. How blessed is Temple Beth El to have you as their rabbi.
I'm giving you a big hug right now, Steve. Rabbi Einstein, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rabbi Einstein. At this time, I invite our community to remain muted, but to join me in a reading that will be shared on the screen, to which Rabbi Kavod will be responding to when the reading comes up. As you hold the stories of our people, we ask you to lead and teach us in the manner of the teachers of the past. As Abram went on a journey to an unknown place and strived to be Abraham, we too do not know what awaits us on our journey, but we ask you to be with us on journeys through life and death, happiness and sadness, sickness and health. We ask you to travel with us on the pathways through our lives.
I will travel with you on the journeys you take. I will be your rabbi.
As Solomon took the dream of a temple in Jerusalem and made it a reality, we ask you to help us build our temple with wisdom and guidance and vision. Help us make the dreams of this congregation a reality.
I will help you to build the temple of our dreams. I will be your rabbi.
As Moses led his people with patience to Israel, so too, we ask you to lead us to our promised land. We ask you to guide us carefully, considering well when it is better to hit the rock and when it is better to speak gently. Lead us carefully, patiently, and with great consideration.
I will consider my words and actions carefully. I will be your rabbi.
As Rebekah ran out to meet Isaac's servant by the well and showed great kindness to her family, we ask you to treat us kindly. Teach us and treat us as you would your own family. Bring us to the Torah with love, compassion, and a gentle touch.
I will try to teach you as I would teach my own children. I will be your rabbi.
As Jethro told his son-in-law Moses that he could not lead alone, so too do we ask you to make us your partners. We pledge to carry the load with you, to raise our children with you, to visit the sick with you, and to repair our community together. Make us your partner in making Bethel a house for all people.
I will make you my partners in the tasks that I undertake. I will work with you. I will try to teach with enthusiasm and kindness. I will try to consider the words I use and the actions I take. I will try to help you dream of a greater future. I will hold your hand in sickness and health, in birth and in death. I will try to make these words of Torah live for you and your children and your children's children. I will try to always remember that even as I stand before you, I also stand before God. I will be your rabbi.
Thank you. We now want to share a compilation that I thank Merritt Weiss for putting this together with her incredible talents in video production.
I am honored to be participating in this installation ceremony for Rabbi Kavod on the occasion of his completing the requirements for becoming both a Reform and conservative rabbi. This is a very important step for the life of our congregation because it puts us at the forefront of changes that are beginning for the world Jewish community. We are now one of only a few congregations in the United States and Canada to have this honor. Our status as a duly affiliated congregation with a duly affiliated rabbi presents us with a unique opportunity to blaze a new trail. This trail was forged by Rabbi Krauss and Henry and Susan Samueli when they chose to name the congregation Temple Bethel, a progressive congregation in South Orange County, providing services for both our Reform and conservative communities. In the United States, the Reform movement chose the phrase progressive Judaism to reflect the movement's grounding in social justice and tikkun olam, healing the world. Knowing my husband and his lifelong commitment to social justice issues, it is clear to me that in choosing to call TBE a home of progressive Judaism, he and the Samuelis were reaching back to the roots of Reform Judaism in the hopes that our congregation would continue to deepen that commitment. Like at the turn of the century, Jews are now disengaging from synagogue life and Jewish life at an alarming rate. The work of progressive leaders stopped this earlier hemorrhaging, and a new and vibrant community was born. We are now in another period of disengagement. Jewish communal leadership is once again working to refresh and renew programming to engage this and future generations of Jews. In order to meet this challenge, we need to explore new and exciting ways to engage people with our TBE community. Rabbi Kavod is part of this new cohort of rabbis. He was invited to participate in a prestigious 2-year cross-denominational leadership incubator program that trains clergy to develop their adaptive leadership skills and work across the aisle to enable their synagogues to transform, to better meet the needs of today's Jewish families. I am looking forward to participating in this new adventure in the life of our synagogue with Rabbi Kavod, who has all the right stuff to lead us. With both adults and children, he is a compassionate listener who asks good questions. He makes learning fun and encourages people to participate. May we all go from strength to strength together.
Mazel Tov, Rabbi Kavod, my mentor, my Rav, my dear, dear friend, on your acceptance to the CCAR. You are the right person to become a member, a duly affiliated member of both the CCAR and the RA, as you lead the wonderful duly affiliated community of Temple Beth El. Because you are one of the best active listeners I've ever met. You have one of the biggest and most open hearts of anyone I've ever gotten to know. And you truly listen and hear for what it is that each individual, each family, each group, what the community needs in our engagement with our Judaism. Our tradition teaches that there are 70 faces to the Torah, and you are one who really looks into each of these faces, both in the Torah and in our people, to recognize where it is that we want and need to grow, where we want and need to explore, where we want and need to discover more about our spirituality, our Judaism. And I know that you will continue to be able to guide us on that path, that this new duly affiliation for you in the RA and the CCAR further reflects that ability that you have to serve our people in multitudinous ways, to engage us in unique and creative opportunities, to delve more deeply into our Judaism. And so it's my hope and my blessing for you that this pursuit, this continued pursuit of moving pluralism forward, of being a trailblazer, brings you joy and love and opportunities for reflection and growth for yourself as well as for those who you lead. I am truly excited and happy for you. I'm deeply excited and happy for Temple Beth El, and I can't wait to see the new and creative things that you bring and deliver as you help move our people forward and provide us with guidance and teaching and support. Much love to you, my dear friend. Mazel Tov, and I'm very...
of saying a few words on the occasion of the installation of Rabbi Kavod Wieder. Rabbi Wieder is not new to your community. But serving a congregation that is a merged entity with both conservative and reform contingents is a unique circumstance. And the fact that Rabbi Kavod now is affiliated with both the Rabbinical Assembly of the Conservative Movement and the CCAR of the Reform Movement is not only an impressive achievement, but also cause for your community's celebration of this event. I've known Kavod from before he even entered rabbinical school. We met in the arena of Jewish education where we both were working. Even then, when he and I were both much younger and had more hair, I was impressed by his intelligence, his Jewish commitment, and his personable nature. In the past year, I've gotten to know Kavod as a fellow in a national rabbinic fellowship program that I direct called the Clergy Leadership Incubator, CLE. This past year, I've had the chance to see Rabbi Kavod up close, carrying the mantle of spiritual leadership of your community. And I've become so impressed at the care and thoughtfulness that he brings to this holy task. Your community is fortunate to have a rabbi who brings not only significant intellectual gifts, do both well. I had a chance to see this firsthand when I was asked to lead a couple of sessions to your congregation's strategic planning group. In the Jewish tradition, there's a blessing that is said when seeing a Torah scholar. It is Baruch atah Adonai shechalak mechachmato levasar v'dam. We thank God for giving a portion of God's wisdom to an earthly being. In this case, Rabbi Kavod Wieder. Kavod is certainly worthy of this blessing, but I think I know Kavod well enough to say that he does not want to lead a community that relies exclusively on his rabbi for its spiritual sustenance. A key part of the CLE fellowship that Kavod is participating in is to re-engineer spiritual communities in ways that inspire and empowers congregants to take responsibility for their own Jewish learning and growth. In some ways, this is a somewhat new approach for rabbis and synagogues, but it is based on a very ancient principle articulated in the Talmud, Masechet Brachot. It says, make yourselves into groups to study the Torah, since its knowledge can only be acquired in association with others. So part of the enterprise of your community is for you to take responsibility, to roll up your sleeves and be both teachers and students of Torah writ large. Let me close by offering Kavod the same blessing or charge that Moses gave to Joshua in the Bible. Chazak ve'ematz. Be strong and of good courage. Good spiritual leaders need both qualities. And to members of Congregation Bethel, I say, treat your rabbi well, and it will pay handsome dividends to each and every one of you. Thank you.
In this time of turbulence and uncertainty where we can feel choked by the waters that are rising around us, there are those who have had the good sense to build an ark to provide shelter from the storm. And through intention and inner strength, one must decide what is a necessary part of its infrastructure, what will keep it stable, and who will be invited in. We have been blessed with Rabbi Kavod as a rabbi and friend whose vision and effort to create a loving and caring community of individuals has helped draw in and elevate the different voices in our temple family. A true leader does not build an ark for themselves alone, but rather finds ways to have others help so that the final creation has room for everyone. Ben Zoma said, "Who is wise? One who learns from all people." Kavod, I am so grateful to have you as my teacher, as my partner, and as my friend. I have watched you grow and truly expand the way in which you lead our community as our rabbi. It is inspiring to see how you've been able to learn from the many disparate voices which you have absorbed with an open heart. While you are strong in your convictions, you have never been rigid and unwilling to consider new ideas and perspectives. We celebrate you today and recognize the tremendous honor and privilege it is to have you as a member of both the Rabbinical Assembly and the Central Conference of American Rabbis. Thank you so much for your dedication to our beloved community and for sharing your leadership with all of us. This time, I want to invite everyone to put yourselves into gallery view so we can see one another. And Rabbi Kavod, we want to bestow the priestly blessing on you. Rabbi Einstein and I will recite the blessing, but I'm going to invite everyone to please hold your hands up as we bless Rabbi Kavod. And Rabbi Kavod, if your family is near, I want to invite them to gather around you.
They're in the other room.
They're in the other room. Okay. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you. May God be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always look with favor upon you, Rabbi Kavod, and grant you peace. Amen.
Amen.
Wow. Thank you, guys. I want to wish everybody here the blessing that you can feel as seen in your own life as I feel right now in these moments, through the words that people shared, through feeling your presence and your mazel tovs in the chat and wishes, and to hear reflections from colleagues, my colleagues that I trust and respect, my family, who is surrounding here is my rock, and definitely makes all of this possible. I want to just take some time to share a little bit about what this moment means for me personally.
Sorry to interrupt, but before you do, may I say something? Okay, so I would like, before you continue, to express what a tremendous honor it is for me and for our family to have you be installed as one of the very few duly affiliated rabbis of the Reform and Conservative movements. Temple Beth El has already become a home for us as a family, and now even more so. We feel a real sense of connection and community with both the Reform and the Conservative congregations. In the duality of the synagogue, we feel a sense of unity since we at home combine both Jewish practices. Temple Beth El has provided and continues to provide our boys a great place to grow and learn about the different paths of Judaism. Whether it's a community of friends at Best Day for Levi, preparations for a unique bar mitzvah celebration for Aiden, or a Hebrew school and Shabbat Chai for Aviv, I feel like each one of our boys can find a place of their own at the temple, a place where they can grow as individuals and thrive as Jews. I'm extremely proud of all the work that you do, the programs you've created, and the people you've connected with. When we first met 10 years ago, you had told me that being a rabbi is a calling you can no longer ignore. Since then, I have witnessed you put your heart and soul into your calling, going above and beyond the call of duty and being present for our community with a warm smile and an open heart. And Aviv is about to present to you with a gift from Temple Beth El. It is our honor to do so. Aviv?
It's here. Wow. Thank you.
It's supposed to be open. Your gift is not that thing by itself. Your gift is
Aviv, how did you get to the synagogue so quickly?
Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, wow. It's a special book or picture. It's a picture. Thank you. Thank you so much. Everybody who was involved in this. This is really precious. Really, really precious. Ilana, thank you. That was a beautiful surprise. And I want to just really appreciate, all the folks who were involved in putting this on. Amy Packer, thank you for that beautiful ceremony. And Merritt, the video is unbelievable, phenomenal, something that I get to treasure for my life. I want to just take a little bit of time to just share with you just a little bit about me, about what I feel like has brought me here in this moment as my invitation for us to keep getting to learn about each other and grow with each other. So I grew up as a Reform Jew. My family gave me an incredible experience of Shabbat. We would have a nice Shabbat dinner. We only went to synagogue on the high holy days, but we had a nice Shabbat dinner, and then we would pile in my parents' bed to watch Dallas and Falcon Crest all together. And it was Shabbos, really, like before, that was the early template. And I was a Hebrew school dropout. I didn't find a whole lot of connection. My parents kept me connected by having a bar mitzvah in our backyard with my dad teaching me Hebrew and my mom teaching Jewish history. And after my bar mitzvah, I was done. I was done with Judaism. I was one of those kids that walked through the motions. I felt certain parts of it as precious, but a lot of it, I hadn't really discovered what it meant to me. And when I was 17 years old, I had a spiritual experience, something that allowed me to have my world expanded a bit and to feel the interconnection of life, a presence of God, something that was real and what was true. And I knew from that moment at 17 that I wanted in my life to create that space for others. I didn't know exactly how. I thought maybe psychology, maybe being a therapist, but however it was, I wanted people to have that same experience and that same knowledge about themselves. And so I pursued a undergraduate and graduate degree in counseling and in psychology. And it became really evident to me that I didn't want to be a professional therapist, but I wanted to hold this space for others. Also around college time, I awakened to my own Jewish soul. There was something that was very deep about who I was in a core Jewishness that I couldn't explain, but I couldn't deny. And so I went to Israel in 1994 for a year after my renewed interest in Jewish identity in college. And I realized that in order to live a deeper relationship with life, to live this spirituality that I was continuing to grow into, one needed to practice. We needed regular forms and spaces to put our attention on what really matters. And I had fallen in love with Judaism, not only because it spoke to my soul, but it also spoke to my mind. I experienced it as a technology of the spirit, which were tools to help us focus our attention on our deeper values and live in a more engaged relationship with life and with God. So it was at this time that the seed of becoming a rabbi was planted. Oh, maybe I could do what I felt called with in a Jewish way. I could be a witness to and support other people's spiritual and psychological growth using Torah, which I defined as the Jewish tools and framework to help us be a force for good and be alive in this world. It took me 12 years since that seed was initially planted to finally begin rabbinic school. And there were all kinds of reasons for my delay. But in the meantime, I worked as a Jewish professional in areas of education, of communal work, and as a spiritual counselor. I made the decision when, as it was said earlier, that I could not ignore being a rabbi any longer. I made the decision to enroll in the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies, the West Coast Seminary for Conservative Judaism. And I made this choice because I found halakha, Jewish law, to be this wise technology of the spirit. And I wanted to learn in a community that was dedicated to a serious engagement with our tradition in this way. And what I learned through my studies is that the rabbi saw halakha as having many perspectives and adaptive to meet the needs of each generation. The idea of Jewish law from the rabbi's perspective was not to follow dogma, but to let deeper values inform our choices wherever we find ourselves. When I finished school, I jumped at the opportunity to serve Temple Beth El of South Orange County, this first duly affiliated congregation, just 1 year. And while I had specific responsibilities to help facilitate conservative worship, I was also on the Bima most Friday nights and was given the mandate to serve the entire congregation. And I jumped at the opportunity because I didn't experience Jewish religious life as rigid rules, but as opportunities for sharing and celebration and creating meaning. And I welcomed the opportunity to be creative in facilitating those experiences for the community. Over the past 9 years at Temple Beth El, my own growing in my service to the community has been enriched. I've been inspired by the generous, thoughtful, and caring souls that make up this synagogue and have shown me for the first time, really, what a caring community can be. A few years into my rabbinate at Temple Beth El of South Orange County, Avi Crane gave me a copy of A Vision of Holiness by Rabbi Richard Levy. And in the book, Rabbi Levy goes through every tenet of the Reform movement's 1999 platform of belief and practice, and he offers his own commentary. And after reading this book, I realized I'm a Reform Jew as well as a conservative Jew. I'm a Reform Jew because the Reform movement advocates for an ongoing deepening and engagement with Jewish thought and practice, including Hebrew, but affirms that it's the individual's choice to how they want to engage. And this is exactly how I see my service to every member of our community, to meet each of you where you are at in your own Jewish path and help provide on-ramps and pathways for you to explore in ways that are authentic to you, that don't have to fit any image or model, but ways that are authentic to you. I also began to affirm Jewish identity through patrilineal descent and officiate at B'nai Mitzvah with families who have a Jewish father and a mother who's not Jewish. And mainly, I've been inspired by the mothers in our community who are not Jewish, but dedicate themselves with such love to creating a Jewish home for their family and a Jewish upbringing for their children. and being duly affiliated with the Union of Reform Judaism and the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism, and taking workshops and attending biennials of both organizations, I've appreciated the leadership and the vision of both denominational movements. I've been especially inspired by the work of the URJ's Religious Action Center, who doesn't just talk about the connection between Judaism and social responsibility, but in an organized and effective way gives synagogues the tools to make a difference in their communities and the larger world. All of these influences and developments resulted in the very natural choice to apply to the CCAR for membership as a Reform rabbi. For me, this is not a denial of my identity as a conservative rabbi. I see the Reform and conservative movements as concentric circles, really a Venn diagram where one circle is conservative, one circle is Reform, and there's a space in the middle where they both share the same practices, the same thrust, the same creativity, the same tradition. And both of the ends on both sides are also beautiful and valuable. But with integrity, I can affirm the values of both movements. So I believe that all of the influences and the resources and the growth that have been a part of my rabbinic path have allowed me to serve you in supporting you as individuals and as a community, to help you walk a Jewish path informed by tradition and creativity, spirituality and social action, but most of all, to fulfill your destiny and your unique contribution to this world as part of a 3,000-year-old legacy of a unique people with a unique purpose. Again, I'm just really, really grateful for all of you for being present and sharing this moment and being a witness, and for everything that everybody does to strive towards the good and the love in our own lives. We're going to continue our service with prayer for healing. This is an opportunity for us to bring into our hearts and our minds and our souls people in our lives that are working through physical illness, through mental illness, or addiction, and to be able to welcome them into our consciousness and our hearts and bring our own wishes and our own energy towards their own healing and growing. So I invite you in the chat to put the names of people that you would like to include, and we'll sing together Ana Elna Refanala, a prayer for healing.
One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Sometimes I lay under the moon, I thank God I'm breathing, and then I pray don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. ונאמן והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו one day, one day, one day, one day, one day.
We now have the opportunity to focus our hearts on those connections and love that we have to people that we've lost through the mourner's Kaddish. We are still in the Shloshim, the 30-day period of our beloved congregant Rhonda Robinson. We're also now in the Shiva period for Lois Schramm, the mother of our member Molly Nagley. We're commemorating the falling yahrzeit, and if I say the name of your loved one, please feel free to stand in your own space. Marvin Banks, Saul Brown, Roger Dull, Rita Lee Gecht, Franklin Gold, Carol Greenberg, Arnold Hahn, Bella Hundert, Bradley Eisen, Martin Joel, Saul Kaufman, Fanny Kirshner, Lovis Lawrence, Philip Liebson, Fanny Mueller de Keisman, S. Allen Roof, Sidney Schindler, Rose Schoenberg, Israel Shadkin, Arthur Shapiro, Miriam Solomon, Jeffrey Martin Stern, Charles Solo, Esther Tan Sobel, Anna Willickson, and Paul Zimmerman. If there's anybody else that you're saying Kaddish for, I invite you to put the name in the chat and we can honor the everlasting connection that we have with those we love. Please stand or sit according to your custom for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah, ve'alma divrach yeruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Zichrona libracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Hey!
Beautiful. So before we, yes, so here are some announcements, kind of continuing this sharing and focus and opening to my leadership and our growing together. There are going to be 3 Thursdays in November, lunchtime, just a half an hour, that if you want to bring your lunch and hang out together. It's really, it's not going to be actually a program that I have set or a thing, certain things to learn, but just really an opportunity for you to ask questions, for us to talk about really anything, whether it's my journey or Reform or conservative Judaism or anything in life. We can hang out on those 3 Thursdays. The other thing that I want to make sure everybody knows about is that our small groups campaign is about to begin in November. And right now you have the opportunity. This is really the place where we live our motto, Temple Bethel, which is large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. It's small groups are really this opportunity where we can build meaningful relationships with each other. And so we have 4 sessions that you can sign up for and get involved. In order to do it, you just have to go to the homepage of our website, and there's a button on there that says small groups. You can sign up to participate as a host or a participant and really be a part of something very special this year. It's at this moment that I am so pleased to have Peyton Edberg lead us in Kiddush, the blessing over Shabbat through wine in honor of her bat mitzvah. This is just the beginning, Peyton, of many Kiddush that you're going to lead in your family and also in our community. Amen. Keep going.
Asher kivanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav b'anu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinachem lanu zikaron l'ma'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher b'tziyat Mitzrayim kivanu b'charta ve'otanu kidoshta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodecha be'ahavat uvratzon hinacholtanu Baruch Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Beautifully, beautifully done. If you would also hold up your challah and lead us in Hamotzi, that would be beautiful.
That's Grandpa's one.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lehem min haaretz. Amen.
Patei Avon.